Hi, I'm Nate, and you're watching Photolearningism. In the past, we've touched on Digicam Control and what a fantastic tool that is. Sadly, that is only for Windows. There's no announcement made for a Linux version, so I didn't want to forget about my Linux audience. I found something special just for you, actually using DarkTable to accomplish some very similar things that we've discussed from Digicam with DarkTable. Let's look at it. Okay, so I'm Nate, this is Photolearningism. If this is your first time joining in, thank you so much. I do a lot of work on this channel to build a community of learning to surface the cheap or free art technology tools so that you can know about them and make use of them, and also so that we can help each other learn and grow in our knowledge of the art world. So we've talked many times about DarkTable. It's a fantastic tonal control tool. One feature that I was not aware of, I kind of stumbled on it by searching this out, is a feature called tethering. This is apparently the term that's now applied for hooking up your camera to software on your PC. I've heard that term before in terms of connecting your smartphone, or in a way back time, the dumb phones that were able to connect to a network source, and you were able to borrow that for networking, for actually getting internet access on your computer, tethering. So the same principle is applied with cameras now, and DarkTable has this tethering feature, very similar to the tool we've been looking at called Digicam Control, which is only Windows based, and that's kind of a bummer because I've heard from some of you who are in Linux, and that would have been interesting, but sadly there's no version of it. So there is DarkTable, however, and DarkTable can do some of this stuff. So I am working on a Ubuntu 19.10 box. I brought it up just because I love you guys, because I love my audience. I went through the pain and the effort of trying to set that up. Not to say that Linux is painful, but it was just newer for me, and it took a lot of work for me to bring myself up to speed quickly to get to this point. So understand that. To get DarkTable working, I had to get it through the APT catalog. There is the Ubuntu application, the software installer, which offers 3 versions. I tried to use those and I couldn't get this to work. I just found that the right version that I needed came straight from APT catalog. So the command for that is here under sudo. And then you also need to install gphoto 2, which is the dependent translator that takes camera and actually allows that to talk to DarkTable for tethering. So you need those 2 things before we do this. Got it? All right. So into Linux here. So first thing we got to do is, I'm actually going to turn on my camera. I'm a Nikon guy. I got a Nikon D5300 in case you're curious, but the camera support is out there for a lot of different models, and I'll put a link in the description below as to what's supported for DarkTable. I tried every way I could, by the way, to make this same thing work in the Windows version of DarkTable. It shows up, there's no counterpart. There's no Windows counterpart for gphoto 2 in Windows, at least as of yet. Some people have messed around with the concept and made kind of forked versions of it for Windows, but the last time that happened was like years ago. We're talking 8-9 years ago. That's how old this goes back, and I didn't really have a lot of faith that was going to work, and I didn't really go down that road. So if you want to, feel free to try those things out, but I did not. I didn't find a late current release that I felt confident would work in Windows. So we're at Linux, and again, this is so you can enjoy some of these same features that we've been talking about from other tools. So what you'll see here is that under the import area of DarkTable, this is version 2.6.0. That seems to be the magic version that works with this right now. It does detect my camera, and I can click on tethered shoot. And the buttons here were found a little confusing, but once you kind of figure out what they do, you can step your way through this without too much more trouble. Like Digicam, I like to recommend starting with a fresh session. So this is like creating a new folder to host the images you're about to work with. And then this button right here turns on the live view. And it's kind of nice that it keeps it all in the same interface. Digicam kind of brings up another window, which is a little confusing at times because then you have to flip between that one and the main controller window, and I don't know, that really wasn't the best idea in my opinion, but it still works. But it, as an interface decision, I don't know, that wasn't the best. Here is good because it keeps it all in the same window. I don't have to hop between windows or frames or any of that. It's all right here. So in order to take an image under camera settings, you'll notice a lot of the same things that we've talked about again in Digicam. You have a timer for how long you want to keep the shutter open for lapsing, how many images you want to take. That's all here. There is an overlay mode, which I've played a little bit with, not too much, but really what that is for if you wanted to work with like a stop motion approach and you really wanted to see what the difference between one image to the other one is. I did more coverage on that on the last video in Digicam, which was actually creating stop motion there, so go check that out if you're curious. No, it's here, but it's actually up here, but I'm not going to do that right now. So taking an image, just capture image, and that snaps. And there we go. You can already see it added into the library that was created for this session. And that's really the basic principle. And the use case for this kind of thing really is if you're going to be doing like a studio shoot or something where the camera needs to be super steady and you don't want to touch the camera at all, this is a perfect solution because you can snap and snap and snap and snap and you don't have to touch the camera. You don't have to worry about the wobble that happens sometimes as you're depressing the shutter. So again, it turns your computer into this big super powered remote control that you can do these neat things with. So that's really the size of it. Again, you can play with the controls, you can change the mode. Really, when you're connected and tethered like this, you actually can't change any of those specifics on the camera once that happens. The one thing you can do is manual focus if you really wanted to do that to kind of sharpen it up. You could do that on your camera. However, all the other controls are actually superseded by the ones that are now in DarkTable for this case. So try it out. Again, I was hoping to find something that bridged the gap between Windows and Linux. A lot of the tools that we cover are open source and do that. This is one of those situations where I haven't found the tool that will actually cover both worlds. So I'm hoping that for the Linux users, my Linux audience, that this gives you something to work with. And that's it. DarkTable is a fantastic tool for many other things. Go watch those videos and see what else that can do for you. But this is another unexplored area that opens up more functionality that you can use. So try it out. Let me know if I missed anything super major awesome in this tool that we can talk about. I didn't see a video mode, I'll mention that. For recording videos, this seems to be purely image capture based, which kind of makes sense because this is an image tonal tool. It wouldn't really work with video. So understand that. You can do that in Digicam, you can't do that here. And again, Digicam is Windows based. DarkTable, the tool itself, bridges between Linux and Windows, but tethering only works in Linux. So if that hasn't confused you. That's the situation right now. I'm going to keep shopping around for tools, but in the meanwhile, I did again want to give an option and give a review for the Linux audience. So thank you so much. Thank you for sticking with me. If this was helpful, please do give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing and going back and watching the other great videos that have been produced here, and join the conversation. I really do love comments and having conversations about these tools and the features that maybe I haven't seen and other powerful tools that we can look at together. So thank you so much. I will see you again next time.